You cannot grow a bold, profitable business alone. You need the right room. You need people who understand what you're going through, who's going to share resources with you. They're going to give you honest feedback and cheer you on when things get really tough. Because let's face it, running a business is like a roller coaster.
All right. I'm Rebecca Hay, and I've built a successful interior design business by trial and error, podcasts, online courses, and so many freaking books. Over the last decade, I've grown from an insecure student to having false starts to careers, and now I'm finally in the place where I want to be. Throughout my journey, it's been pretty obvious that I'm passionate about business and helping other entrepreneurs do the same. Each week, I'll share tangible takeaways from my own experience and the experiences of other badass women to help you build your confidence and change your business.
Hey, it's Rebecca, and you are listening to Resilient by Design. Today, I'm doing things a little bit different. I'm going to take you behind the scenes. Specifically, I want to take you behind the scenes of my trip to Nashville, Tennessee, where I attended Amy Porterfield's Mastermind event. If you've been following me for a while, you probably know that Amy's been a big mentor of mine, and she was actually one of the very first podcasts that I listened to many years ago. We're talking pre-pandemic, when I was in the early years of running my design firm. I was looking for marketing help and really had never had any intention of launching an online course, which is what Amy is known for teaching. And truthfully, I just really looked up to what she was doing, and I thought she was super savvy. But turns out, she is the reason that ultimately I thought about creating an online course and the reason that I'm really here today. So, her teachings through her podcast and her courses, they helped me launch my very first online course for interior designers, which was called Momentum. Many of you took that course. It was all about marketing. It was momentum marketing. It was marketing for interior designers. It was about Instagram. It was about digital marketing. And I sunset that course because it was hard to keep up with all the marketing trends. I had things in that course like teaching people how to use IGTV. Well, guess what? That doesn't exist anymore. So it was just moving faster than I could do or update the course. But it was such a great initial start to helping interior designers. And from that, it led me into doing Power of Process. But let's take it back a minute. So later on, when I did create my signature course, I went through Amy's program. So I didn't really do it. I listened to her podcast. It's amazing what you can do with a free podcast. I know many of you have taken a lot of action from listening just to this podcast and have seen the benefit in your business. But it's really amazing what can happen when you finally sign up for the paid thing and you do the work. So I finally, when I was like, okay, I'm going to do this Power of Process course, I didn't know it was called yet. I knew I wanted to do it on process because I felt so passionate about it. Designers kept asking me about it because I kept talking about it in my marketing course, in the podcast, like all over the place. In fact, if you go back to the very beginning of this podcast, you'll notice there's no mention of pop. Like had not created it yet. Anyhow, might be a fun exercise for you, but that's a little bit ways back. Episodes like 1 through 100, probably, maybe not that far. Anyhow, so I finally bit the bullet and I decided to invest in her signature program. It was about $2,000 at the time. And it was a big investment, but I used it to help me build out the course that we all know and love today. And it worked. Everything she taught me worked. And so I've always believed in learning from the best, but not just that, learning from someone who resonates with you. So when you listen to a podcast and the person on the other end sounds like they know their stuff, they seem like someone you might want to hang out and have a coffee with, they seem like kindred spirits to you, then usually you know you're going to learn something from their paid offer. So that's what I did. And truthfully, I've been a fan of hers ever since. So let's rewind to last summer. Last summer, she announced that she was going to be running her first ever mastermind. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need more Amy. Like many of you have said to me, Rebecca, I need more Rebecca. Well, that's how I felt about Amy Porterfield. I'm like, oh my gosh, this seems like a great opportunity. Had no idea what the cost was going to be, but I knew I had to apply. Truth time. I did not actually get into her mastermind because it was designed, I didn't know this at the time, for multi seven figure online entrepreneurs. And I was not there yet. I've been there with my design firm, but was definitely not there with the online courses. So, because it was designed for those people, I got a lovely email saying, thank you, but you haven't been selected. But Amy, being Amy, she saw an opportunity in business. And so she saw that there were many people like me who were not at the $1 million mark yet with their courses, but were really driven and really wanted to get there. And so she created something that she called the Millie Club. And she invited us to join that mastermind. It was only a 6-month mastermind versus the year, and it was less expensive. So, of course, immediately I said yes. I was like, this is going to be amazing to be in such close proximity to this woman who knows so much and has helped me and taught me so much. And I've seen such success from the little things that I've learned from her. And let me just tell you, it has been one of the best decisions I have made for my business. The mastermind for 6 months' time, when I first signed up, I've done it now 2 times in a row. The very first time I signed up, it was $17,000. That is the most money I've ever spent for anything. Well, that's not true. I've paid $20,000 to business coaches, but this felt like a lot of money for not one on one coaching and only 6 months. But I knew if I didn't try it, I would regret it because I was ready. You know, when you're just feeling like maybe it doesn't make sense on paper, but there's something in you that's like, I need to do this thing. I need to find a way to pay for it. I think I did a payment plan just so that I can make it work for me. As part of her mastermind, she has a 2-day in-person event in East Nashville. So I want to take you inside what those couple of days were like and a little bit more about that mastermind because many of you have been curious. You've seen me fly to Nashville a few times, and I want to share what I walked away with. So as part of her 6-month program, she invites you to 2 days in Nashville. And the event itself is held in East Nashville. You are responsible for your own accommodation and travel. And Nashville has this really cool sort of artsy, obviously it's like Music City, heart of country music, but then East Nashville has a really cool, edgy, artsy vibe. The venue itself was totally stunning. So I flew in. I'm going to talk about my most recent trip because actually, as I'm recording this, I am planning to go to Nashville again to end the 6-month mastermind with Amy. And that is coming up towards the end of October. So it's very recent that I've been thinking about this. And as I'm, getting ready to plan to go away again, I thought, okay, I'm going to share with you guys because some of you might be interested in knowing what it's like when you get to that level behind the scenes. So not only are we meeting on Zoom every month, we have Amy answering our questions. We have a private Slack group where you can message individual people. There's channels. You can DM Amy herself. She'll send you voice notes. Like it's very personal. The event is the highlight. And the reason I say that is not because it's flashy or over the top. There's no fireworks. There's no fancy dinners, but it really feels luxurious. It feels intentional and it feels intimate. There are less than 30 people in this group. And I think the first time we did it was even less than that. And so it's a really wonderful opportunity to be in physical space with these other entrepreneurs who are doing what you do. So the space was, what the heck was the name of it? I can't remember the name of the space, but it was a beautiful century-old home that is now used as an event space. It was beautifully designed. The whole event was actually designed by Mary Hyatt, who is the business coach that you guys have heard me talk about. I've worked with her off and on over the years. She's been amazing. She's really helped me lean into my intuition. She was really instrumental in giving me the confidence to take this leap of faith and move from design clients to working with creatives and working with designers on their businesses because my intuition was calling for it. I might sound a little woo-woo, but she's really helped me tap into that. A few years ago, I was like, how do I know what's my intuition and what's my brain? And like, I can do a good pros and cons list, and making decisions always felt heavy. So she really helped me. So it just so happened she's also Amy's very close friend. And she designed and organized the event for Amy. And she did such a beautiful, beautiful job. So knowing that Mary was going to be there made me feel a little less nervous because at least it's someone that I've met and I know. But I'll be honest, the first time I went to one of Amy's events in Nashville, I honestly felt like a fish out of water. I'm still relatively new in the online space. And I remember thinking, like, who am I to be here? Like, who am I? Like, I'm an interior designer. Like, if I was in a room of designers, I'd be like, I know I belong here, but I was like, I don't feel like I am up to snuff to be here. And I just kept thinking, like, I don't really know much about online courses, right? Like, compared to all these women who have these successful businesses, who understand the tech, who knew how to this and that, and they get Facebook ads, and I felt like a fish out of water. However, the great thing about being in person is you get to have those one off conversations. And over time, and at this event, I started to see that I actually also bring value to the table. And the connections I was making there and the information I was gathering was next level. We spent 2 full days learning, masterminding, and sharing ideas. And yes, Amy taught and she guided us. So she would do a workshop and we would have notebooks where we would like look and think. We'd write down, our responses to the ideas, or we would just write down the things she's saying. There were slideshows. She even brought in some guest speakers who were incredible. One of our speakers the first time around was Julie Solomon. She is an excellent entrepreneur when it comes to messaging and getting your message out there. We also had incredible speakers who are very well known in their own industries, sharing their insights on how they built their own online business. And so here's the thing that I actually learned more from this event than I expected was the value is actually not in the experts. Now, hear me out. I know that sounds crazy to you. It's like, no, 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 you're paying to like hear from Amy and hear from all these experts. But the reality is, the value is from the other people in the room who are doing what I'm doing and similarly no one's at the same level, but you know what I mean? Like they're all running their own race, but we're all driven and we're all at least a minimum level in our business. And so when I say masterminding, that's when you share ideas. So we would have, group sessions where we'd go into smaller groups, like 3, 4, 5 people, and there would be a focus for the group and we would share. And it was in that sharing or in the break, the quote unquote recess between speakers, or at lunchtime when you really started to dive in and talk to people and get to know them and their business, that's where the magic happened. And these are women, I would say most of them, not all of them, but most of them, in my opinion, are a bit ahead of me, but in different areas. And truthfully, at first, I really didn't think I had anything to contribute. Like I said, I don't know anything about Facebook ads. I'm learning. I don't know about you, but the tech stuff, I'm learning. But as they shared their struggles, I found myself saying, ooh, I've been there. And I was able to help them with the hiring, with some of the process stuff, with giving ideas on, well, have you thought about this with your clients? Have you, like, I was able to bring my perspective from my 15 years in the interior design business because I have a lot of life lessons and skills behind me that some of these younger designers, not sorry, they weren't designers, that some of these younger entrepreneurs didn't have. And so it realized how much we can complement and help each other. And as they shared their struggles, I found myself saying, oh, I've been there. I can help you. And that was a huge moment for me, was realizing that I do have value to add in any room that I'm in. It just looks different depending on the room I'm in. And the diversity in the room was so incredible. We had women in that room who are from all over North America, Canada and the US, and the UK and Australia, and women who coach other women in the health and wellness. There's somebody there who does biohacking and functional medicine. There was someone else there who has online courses teaching real estate agents how to build Instagram followings. Then there's someone else there who has online courses teaching needlework. Like there were coaches there who support autistic adults. There was another coach there as part of our group that helps US families apply for scholarships to university and college. There's somebody else there who has an incredible, thriving $1 million business teaching Italian as a second language to English language speakers. Like I could go on. So fascinating, so different from different parts of the world. But it was a beautiful mix of women who are running multi-6-figure businesses in totally different industries. And what struck me was that it proved to me that there's a market and there's a message for everyone. And there is really not one way to run a business. And I know I talk about that a lot. And I always say with Power of Process, There's no one size fits all to running your business, to running an interior design firm, to running a landscape business, to running a graphic design business, to running a photography business. Like it really doesn't, it doesn't, there's a blueprint you can follow, but you are always going to riff on that and make it your own. And so being exposed to all of that really opened my eyes wider. And I got tangible, specific takeaways. And that to me was so valuable. You can go hunting and pecking all over the internet to find the best software for this. What's the best project management platform? Where should I be banking? Like whatever the questions are that you have. But there's so much more power in hearing firsthand from someone who's worked with something and used it, or who tried something one way and it didn't work, and here's what they did instead. And those lessons are the ones that stick, not the searching on Google. That information is not sticky to me. What's sticky to me is the woman on the other side of the table telling me her story and why she did something one way. It really sticks. And that's how we learn. One of my bigger aha moments was realizing that truthfully, I get way too much in my own head. I don't know if anyone else can relate to that, but I realized that I overthink a lot. But being with these women reminded me that I'm on the right track. I just need to keep going. I just need consistency. And for me, being with women who are entrepreneurs doing what I'm doing was so refreshing, because in my city, in my bubble, I don't have a lot of those entrepreneur friends. I have a lot of designer friends, and it took me a long time to get there. Now that I'm shifting, I want friends in the entrepreneurial online space that are doing what I'm doing. Just like many of you listening might be thinking like, oh, like I would love to have other interior design friends that are like at my level that I could bounce ideas off of, spitball with, come to them with my troubles and my challenges, ask for their help reviewing my contract or whatever. It's so powerful to have that. Okay, my second big takeaway is when you remove yourself from your everyday environment, that's when the magic happens. And I'm not talking about going on vacation. This is different. When you can get away from the routine and intentionally work on your business with a mentor and guide and like-minded people, it's always going to help you gain clarity faster than you can at home. In those 2 days, let's say 3 days, because I got there the day before, I got super crystal clear on a whole lot of things in my business, my offers, where my true zone of genius lies, what's been holding me back, what's my areas of opportunity. We even did a meditation exercise that was led by Mary Hyatt, which was amazing. That was very powerful. Something I probably wouldn't have taken the time to do on my own. I'm not someone who likes to meditate. I know I included in some of my programs, I do like guided, I wouldn't call it meditation so much as like a visualization exercises, and I find them powerful. But how many of us are really stopping in the middle of our busy day to do it? When you're in a room of 30 women or 20 women and there's a guide, you close your eyes and you do it. And it gave me the time and space to really reflect. And something that was really mind-blowing for me was that I saw things differently in that meditation. It shifted. And after we did the meditation, and it was meant to kind of like just shift the energy in the room halfway through the day. We'd had lunch. We always had like a lovely buffet style lunch that was catered, and lots of coffee and tea. And then we'd come back to our tables. We had our little name cards, and we'd get settled back into the chair. But, it's a lot of sitting and learning. And so that she tried to mix it up. So after the meditation, everyone started to share. And as each person shared their experience with the meditation, I realized how powerful it is to be in that collective knowledge, but in a space where there's no judgment. Like there were women sharing truths about their past, like truths about their divorce and their husbands finding out about infidelity. There were women in that, which you wouldn't think relates to business, but everything relates to business, guys. Let's be honest. There were women there sharing how they realized they were going down the wrong path and they wanted to change gears. And there were women who started to cry because the vision they had made them feel so emotional. And being in a room where you feel comfortable enough to share and to do it knowing you're not going to be judged, That to me is so, so powerful. It's bigger than anything one teacher, one course, or a coach could ever provide you, is having that collective space to breathe and to just be. And so I will also add that it wasn't just fluff, it wasn't just meditation and kumbaya. There was real talk, guys. There was real talk about money. That was probably one of the more surprising and exciting things for me is what was when we were asked to like kind of prepare and bring our numbers to the event and like look at our profit margin, look at our sales, look at the numbers that maybe some of us try to look at once a year with our accountant and not have to pay attention to. And what was even better than forcing me to do that was having people share where they're at. Like, I'm not just talking in vague terms about growth or success or, yay, we hit $1 million. It's like women in that room were openly sharing their exact profit margins. They were saying, this year we're already at 600,000. I really don't know if I can get to a million. I'd like to stretch it to that. Our profit margin's 20%. Somebody else said, oh, wow, my profit margin's like, it was ridiculous. It was like 60 or 80%. And we were all like, I'm sorry, what? And Amy was like, whoa, girl, you need to reinvest in your business, right? And there were some people who were like embarrassed to say, I don't think we broke even this year. But what an incredible safe space to talk about real numbers so you really know how you're doing. You really see what's possible. You're seeing what people are making, what their last project fee was, what they're charging, what their expenses look like. What are they paying their team members? What does it cost for software? What are they paying themselves? It was really a deep dive into what's truly required to run a successful business. And that was only possible from being in the room and sharing. And because it was such a safe environment, really nobody held back. Some people who would have normally not said anything, I feel, raised their hand. And everyone was willing to be transparent because they knew that someone else was also being transparent with them. It was like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back, right? I can tell you that kind of honesty is rare, especially when it's interprofessionals, right? It reminded me again about why these rooms are so powerful. You don't just get that anywhere. You definitely don't get that level of candor in a free Facebook group or on Instagram, right? You maybe get the odd person who shares. Everyone else is like, oh, I'm not sharing. It definitely happens though when you're surrounded by like-minded people who are committed to growth and who trust each other and their mentor who brings them into the room enough to share openly. And having that mentor, in my case, it was Amy, share openly about her business too. Share where she made her mistakes, what her profit margin was at the beginning, where it's gone to next, how much money is she generating, what is her goal for next year. Like she openly shared with us, which made everyone feel comfortable to share with her and with each other. And the best part is it didn't end in Nashville. So like every month as part of that mastermind, I got to connect with these same women on Zoom, get to know them. We also have accountability groups where we were matched with other members, and we meet once a week on Zoom of our own free will. We created our own Zoom link and we were able to meet. We check in with where we're at. It's been such an incredible, amazing. I feel as though it is the team that I haven't had. It's the business partner that I don't have. And we really get to know each other's businesses. So then you can advise and you can support and you can say, well, I did this. I ran a boot camp, or I had a client who was like this. And here's what I did. Here, maybe have you tried this? Oh, well, no, I didn't think about that. And it was very reaffirming for me because for the longest time, I've had this desire to do something like this, but I didn't know how to format it. I didn't know how to do it. And so it's kind of been like learning for me and research for me because I'm like, okay, if I'm going to run something, I'm going to listen, I'm going to learn from the best. If I'm going to do something like this for interior designers, for creatives, I want to make sure it's really freaking good. And I want it to be the thing everyone talks about. So I've had this kind of, I don't know, I've had this desire for a while to do a mastermind. First, I wanted to do a retreat only. And then I was like, oh God, that sounds like so much work to plan logistically. I actually had a failed launch of a retreat. I wanted to do a retreat in Muskoka, just north of Toronto. It was going to be winter. It was going to be beautiful. I did it too last minute. I didn't realize everything that was involved. I didn't realize the commitment financially I would have to make with the hotel. A few people purchased, that might be some of you here. And then we refunded their money when I panicked that I wouldn't fill the spots. And so I didn't try it again. But I feel like now I'm ready. And a retreat, though, is not enough. You need the longer term commitment to really make change in your business. And that's something that I've learned. You can go to a 2-day seminar and feel super inspired, and then you come home and you're right back at it. You need the accountability. And that's what I've needed. I need that accountability of like, I do not miss those Zoom calls. Come hell or high water once a month, 90 minutes, I am there and I show up and I have my questions. And if I'm on the hot seat, I am ready because I want to get as much value as I can from this program. And so I've decided that's what I want to do for you. I want to create a mastermind for interior designers and creative entrepreneurs that will guide you to that next level, to that $1 million mark. Because here's the truth. You cannot grow a bold, profitable business alone. You need the right room. You need people who understand what you're going through, who's going to share resources with you. They're going to give you honest feedback and cheer you on when things get really tough. Because let's face it, running a business is like a roller coaster, right? So I've made the exciting decision to create my own mastermind. It is exclusively for interior designers and creative entrepreneurs. I'm launching it this month, like today. Basically, I'm announcing it to the world. It is going to be a 6-month mastermind for you, and it starts January 2026. Now, this is different than anything I've offered before. The mastermind is not the same as Power of Process. This mastermind is designed for more established designers, designers who've built their business to at least $200,000 or more. This is not for beginners. And it's for designers who are maybe a few years in, maybe they've taken Power of Process, or if they haven't, at least they have systems in place and they have a process and they're ready to scale towards the $1 million mark. And they want to do it with clarity, confidence, and support and accountability. The mastermind is going to be intimate. It's going to be high touch. I'm limiting the mastermind to just 20 designers for my very first time. And it is by application only. So it is something that we are going to vet each individual application and set up a phone call to make sure that we're the right fit for you, you're the right fit for us. It's going to include monthly group coaching calls. We're going to have co-working sessions where you're going to get feedback on your actual business documents, proposals, marketing assets. You're going to get opportunity for a hot seat where you can ask a question and get my undivided attention to answer. We've got there will also be private community access. We will have a hub where we will keep all of the trainings, any resources. There will also be an opportunity to connect with your fellow mastermind members and direct DM access to me. We're also going to give you some expert audits. We have HR specialist, copywriter in our world that we're going to bring in to help give you feedback based on where you're at. And we're going to host an in-person live event here in Toronto. It'll be a 2-day event in Toronto in June of 2026. We're going to have workshops, guest speakers, an incredible connection. I'm so excited about it. This is not about giving you another course. This is not about giving you more to do or more to work on. You're already doing enough. If you have established your process, you're running your business, you've got projects on the go, but you are like, I need to streamline, I need to scale, I need to figure out the team, I need to figure out the business, I need to figure out the financials, I need to really see how other people are doing it so I can take it to the next level. That's what this is for. It's about surrounding yourself with the right people, having those real conversations, those conversations I told you about that I've been having in my mastermind about pricing, visibility, leadership. And then walking away with strategy and the accountability to follow through. Most of us have the ideas. Most of us can search ChatGPT for what to do, but many of us don't follow through. Many of us just get too busy and it falls to the wayside. This mastermind is for those designers who are ready to fully commit to growth and have a community around them to hold them accountable, to ask the questions, to follow up. And so if you're listening to this and you're thinking this is exactly what I've been waiting for, Rebecca, then yes, I cannot wait. I want to personally invite you to apply. So if you want to apply to this mastermind, just go to rebeccahay.com/mastermind. That is the first step to submitting your application. Spots are very limited, as I mentioned. We're limiting it to 20 designers. And once they're gone, they're gone. And I truly believe that proximity is power. And this is going to be the room where your next level begins. I am so freaking excited. I cannot wait. I will be attending Nashville for another in person. So I'm going to get even more ideas that I can bring back to my new mastermind. So we're kicking it off this month. You can apply today and it will start January 2nd, 2026. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. I'll see you soon.